Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Manchester United's FA Cup penalty shootout exit to Fulham could have more far-reaching consequences for the crisis-hit club than the door slamming shut on another trophy. Defeat to Marco Silva's side means the only silverware left for United to play for this season is the Europa League, with the winners guaranteed a place in next season's Champions League. Failure to go all the way and win the Europa League would leave United without any European football next season, only the second time that will have happened in the past 3 decades. If that scenario unfolds, which is highly probable given United's current form means they are unlikely to win the Europa League, they will find it hard to attract top players in the summer. Given United's financial problems, £300 million losses over the past 3 years, they were always going to have to be smarter with their recruitment than they have been in recent times. Against the backdrop of those financial constraints, which has already seen them lay off 250 staff, with up to 200 more set to follow, United must be frugal and shrewd with their summer business. But even accounting for that, as well as the need to sell players before they can buy, United will find it hard to attract players of sufficient quality if they cannot offer European football. United's record goalscorer and former captain Wayne Rooney underlined the scale of the recruitment crisis facing his old club by admitting the best players will think twice about moving to Old Trafford. "If I'm a top player playing in a different country and Manchester United came to sign me now, I'd be thinking, I'm not sure," said Rooney. United have spent a lot of money over the last 10 years. The structure hasn't been there because a certain manager hasn't had a long enough period of time. Every time they're starting to move forward a bit, it gets ripped up again because they've got a different style. If United cannot offer European football next season, they can forget signing the likes of Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres, Napoli's Victor Osimhen, or Wolves forward Matheus Cunha. United's fall from grace has already seen them miss out on targets, including Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham, both of whom former boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tried and failed to sign. Haaland joined City, where he has become the most prolific goalscorer in Europe, while Bellingham has taken his career to a different level at Real Madrid, with both having won the Champions League, something they could not have achieved at United. In short, United's revival hinges on whether they can win the Europa League this season. If not, the recovery process is likely to prove more painful and drawn out than Amorim or their fans could have imagined. Manchester United avoided serious embarrassment on Wednesday night as they edged out Ipswich Town. A 3-2 win at Old Trafford kept the heat off Ruben Amorim temporarily. A loss would have seen the team hit a new low, but their attention can now turn to the FA Cup. The tournament, where they are holders, is one of their 2 remaining hopes of landing silverware this term. They will face Fulham, who they beat just weeks ago, with another success potentially improving morale in what has been one of the club's worst seasons for decades. Amorim is not without his issues, though the attitude of Alejandro Garnacho has been called into question, with his manager ready to discuss it with the winger. Roy Keane has hammered captain Bruno Fernandes, as well as his teammates, labelling them bluffers as he let off steam in a full-blown rant. The Portuguese star has long been a divisive figure, with his quality twinned with an attitude that rubs people up the wrong way. Despite Fernandes' individual efforts, he's not been able to deliver a huge amount of success, and Keane is not a fan of some of his antics. He said on the Stick to Football podcast, "I see fans at matches and they're singing for Bruno. I see these boys and I think you're imposters." Ian Wright defended Fernandes, claiming he's led by example and suggesting that United may be in relegation battle if it wasn't for their skipper. However, that led to a fiery response from Keane, who said, "Talent is not enough. You keep going back to talent. Bruno's a talented player, but it's not enough." Liverpool icon Michael Owen believes that Garnacho is dispensable in Manchester. The Argentine made headlines on Wednesday evening, storming down the tunnel after being hauled off when his side went down to 10 men. His future at Old Trafford has been questioned in recent months, and he was linked with a move to Napoli, but United placed a £60 million price tag on him, and the Italians opted against pursuing the deal. Owen, who also played on the red side of Manchester, doesn't believe that the Argentinian has done enough to make himself integral to Amorim's plans. At the moment, he's not getting into the Manchester United side, Owen said. If he was that good, Ruben Amorim would consider him to be undroppable, even though he has been reportedly misbehaving. The club have made 5 of their young stars part of their first team plans under Amorim. Chido Obi, Sekou Kone, Ellie Harrison, Jack Morehouse and Tyler Fredrickson have all been recognised on the back of Manchester United's matchday programmes. United have needed to call upon their academy to help name their matchday squads due to the injury issues at Old Trafford. 7 of the club's young prospects were named on United's bench against Tottenham earlier in February. Several weeks on, and only Obi and 19-year-old goalkeeper Harrison were required for the win over Ipswich. Harrison was recently recalled from a non-league loan spell, and the Red Devils rejected loan inquiries for him in January as they wanted to further involve him in first-team training. Ruben Amorim has suggested that Chido Obi Martin is firmly in his thinking for a full Manchester United debut. The young striker joined the Red Devils from Premier League rivals Arsenal last summer after putting together a prolific goal-scoring record within the Gunners' youth ranks. The 17-year-old has continued that in Manchester, with 12 goals in just 9 appearances for the under-18s, while he has also made a couple of appearances for the under-Tyven side. Obi Martin has made so much of an impression that he has also made 3 outings for the senior side, albeit all of those have come as a substitute. He caught the eye in United's FA Cup defeat to Fulham, and asked if the youngster could make his first start for the club. Amorim kept his cards close to his chest, but did not rule it out entirely. He said, "Anything can happen in the next games. During training, we don't have a lot of time to train, but we need to see the opposition, feel the moment of the player, physically, with a lot of games, because we are going to start playing Thursday, Sunday. Anything can happen, but I will focus just on the next game. And not in that way, I'm not going to change the striker. I will just choose the best players to win the next match." While Obi Martin continues to catch the eye at Old Trafford, it appears that there is also a clamour for his services when it comes to national football. Denmark boss Brian Riemer has revealed that the striker is now under consideration despite Nigeria trying to tempt him. He said Chido is a player who has played on our U18 national team, so it has become even stronger. So I think we should say, in order to follow the right business procedures, that we just have to make sure that we do it the right way. The senior national team requires one more step. You need to come in and play more regularly before the senior national team is an option for you. It's hard to get there if you don't play regularly for your club team. United have seriously struggled for goals this season. Strikers Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee have just 5 Premier League goals between them this term, despite costing a combined £108 million. When Manchester United host Fulham in the FA Cup on Sunday, Andre Onana is likely to find himself on the Old Trafford bench. United boss Ruben Amorim has honoured his predecessor Erik ten Hag's pledge to go with backup goalkeeper Altay Bayındır in the cup games this season. But after his latest high-profile blunders, United number 1 Onana, who cost £43.8 million from Inter Milan in 2023, may start to find himself on the bench more often than he would like. In United's laboured 3-2 win over Ipswich, Onana was culpable for both goals conceded, guilty of basic mistakes that made the win more difficult than it needed to be. Those latest gaffes came on the back of mistakes in United's 2-2 draw at Everton, where Onana was at fault for their second, and in a 1-0 defeat at Tottenham, where he gifted a simple finish to James Maddison. For the first goal against Ipswich, after a mix-up with teammate Patrick Dorgu, Onana should have taken control of the situation, given he was the only one who could see the danger unfolding. With Dorgu running back towards his own goal, the young defender was perhaps unaware Ipswich's Jadon Sancho was breathing down his neck, which is when Onana should have taken over. Having raced off his line, Onana should have let Dorgu know the ball was his. Instead, confusion ensued, with Dorgu playing the ball beyond him, allowing Sancho to score into an empty net. If Onana was perhaps only partly culpable for that goal, he was entirely at fault for Ipswich's second, misjudging a routine cross from Sancho and allowing it to sail straight past him and into the net. even allowing for the distraction of Ipswich striker Liam Delap moving towards the ball. There was no excuse for Onana to deal with the cross and palm it away to safety, away from the danger area. But Onana's footwork for the second goal was calamitous, shifting to his right, then left, then repeating that sequence, meaning he was hopelessly out of position as the ball flew past him. Amorim was diplomatic when asked about Onana's latest mistakes, choosing not to admonish him and instead focus on the wider issue of culpability blighting his entire team. "We have to work on that," said Amorim. "We need to improve, not just Andre, but we have so many problems. If you see a lot of our players, in some games they make some mistakes that are important in terms of the result in that game. I don't want to point at just one player. We need to improve as a team." Whether Onana retains Amorim's long-term faith remains to be seen. United's more pressing need to address other areas of the team may mean a new keeper is not considered a priority in the summer. But if Onana continues to make basic mistakes that lead to goals, Bayindir may find he gets a run in the side when he returns from injury, and a new man between the posts may become an urgent need.